Hi everyone, it's been a while. I've been super busy. I wanted to hop onto here for my daily 10-minute update that I haven't updated you guys in a while, in a few days. But as of now, I'm excited to announce that the Galactic Federation is scheming up a plan to delay the solar flash, the incoming September, then November solar flash, then officially it has been pushed back to December. And this is an official announcement from my end, as I've downloaded this news a few days ago, but haven't had the chance to share it with you guys. Initially, the solar flash was supposed to awaken humanity on a September-October timeline, but as the political scope of the world began to shift and skew according to its own timeline, the Galactic Federation and consciousness itself figured that within the timeline scope of the originally planned solar flash, that it wouldn't fall into alignment with the political issues that are being raised in today's field. And so began the grand scheme and grand plan to work around these timelines within our political landscape, along with the consciousness of our sun, to scope out the best possible time frame to anchor in this bright light energy that will reverberate through and via the consciousness of our sun, making that decision and the physicality to explode its consciousness and drip portions and pieces of itself into our atmosphere, which is the exciting part of this whole plan. However, as you know, non-linearity falls into linearity and can stretch and skew into different timelines of coherence. And as of this moment in time, the September timeline for the solar flash has been pushed back officially to late December. What does this mean? What does this mean to a humanity that is set to awaken during the solar flash? It means they have an extra few months in time to acclimate to the political landscape, depending on your geographical location, depending on what type of agenda is being carried out within your field. You may be able to awaken a lot earlier than when the solar flash rings true. And when the solar flash does happen, a massive portion of humanity will be affected by these solar waves of the solar energy that will spew bright light energy from the sun onto Gaia, onto her surface, within certain stretches and grievances within her surface and upon her inhabitants will be fully noticed, fully noticeable within the news networks, falling within the agenda of the elites. And I say that as a confusion in time that is being anchored down in this moment in time, as that may not have made a lot of sense to you guys in the way that I said it, but as you begin to awaken, you will begin to realize within the scope of things that the media has always been concocting schemes to brainwash your consciousness into skewing towards the left or the right, the center, the midpoint perspective, the all-around perspective of all perspectives. And in the moment that the solar flash occurs, the political landscape will be rough, to say the least, and it will be suitable for their agenda to announce that there has been a solar flash, regardless of whether or not you are located in the geographical location on this planet where you'll be affected the most by these incoming waves of solar rays and energetic radiations that will worry humanity into the darkening of the dark night of the soul, essentially. The exciting part in all of this, and I know you're probably sitting there a bit worried about the details, had you believed that there is an incoming solar flash, it is quite worrisome, as this is a catastrophic global event that is coming into our field, as this is an incoming global event that not a singular fractal of God's consciousness, of God's soul in this field on Gaia, within her physicality, above her physicality, walking upon her physicality, can escape. And I say this in the best way possible, that it may seem in the moments, in the time, in the months to come, that our reality field begins to stretch and skew towards the light of what is. But as light workers begin to awaken into the darkness of what is, as they begin to transcend the descendants into the very pits of hell, into the very pits of their reality field that they've been walking in, that they've been traversing in within the darkness of Gaia's field, they will begin to see a bright light shine through. And only when the darkness surpasses that of the brightness within itself can the brightness begin to surpass all that it is, that all that has created the darkness to become, to get to a precipice, to get to a point where the brightness can shine as bright as ever, to overcome this reality field within the darkness of what is. The darkness needs to skew to a point, to a perception point of infinite singularities, of endless lucid thoughts of negativity, of incoming brevity, of all of the incoming sun's rays that you can ever imagine to be true and imagine to be real. The darkness that will rise out of this occurrence is pivotal to the awakening of a society that has been so unsuspecting. And I say this again in the best way possible, and whether or not, regardless of whether or not you understand me in this moment in time, you will have to walk through this occurrence, this genetic occurrence within the sun's rays that will activate you and your energy field into the expansiveness, into the expansion of all that you are, of all that you've ever been, to open up and broaden your reality fields in a genetically coherent way, to activate all of your chakras into alignment with source consciousness, with your higher self, with all that there is. And once this has been done, the darkness around you will begin to dissipate as it begins to become compartmentalized into the light of what is. And the exciting part, ladies and gentlemen, is that it is still set to happen prior to the end of this year. And it will be an epic awakening for society, for an entire earth. The consciousness walking upon Gaia's surface will begin to see her for once, and perhaps not finalized yet, as timelines are always skewing and stretching. But as of now, the timeline that we are on is that the solar flash, the grand solar flash, the great and grand solar flash, is set to happen at the end of December. What does that mean for us? That means the time is near. That means the clock is ticking down lower and lower into the occurrence of the darkness as it begins to be triggered to release itself higher and higher into our reality field, for us to compartmentalize, for us to see, for us to feel, for us to realize, for us to step into, for us to overcome, and for us to grow our brightness from. And as we do so, we will find each other, we will hold hands as light workers and begin the dissension process into the very core of Gaia, into the two-dimensional frequency, so we can pull up all of her frequency into the five-dimensional frequency and above and beyond into a source consciousness of all that there is.